Hello everyone and welcome to County Perspective. This show focuses on Frederick County government, local programs and events, and the Frederick County community. I'm your host Brandon Rosa and thank you for joining me. Now we begin this episode of County Perspective with our top news stories. Frederick County has once again secured AAA bond ratings from Fitch, Moody's, and Standard & Poor's, recognizing its strong financial management and long-term planning. This achievement allows the county to borrow at lower interest rates, which reduces costs for projects like building schools, roads, and parks. County officials recently met with analysts in New York to review financial policies. They addressed priorities such as cybersecurity and climate change. The bond rating agencies praised Frederick County's financial reserves and noted the economic growth in the biotech and life sciences industries. Frederick County remains among the few nationwide to hold top ratings from all three agencies, ensuring continued investment in critical infrastructure. Governor Wes Moore visited Frederick in January to highlight major investments his proposed budget will make in our community for school construction and transportation. With Frederick County's rapid growth, Oakdale High School and other schools are over capacity. The budget allocates $825 million for school construction, including funds from the $1.7 billion Build to Learn Fund. Moore also announced $160 million for improvements to US 15 to reduce congestion and enhance safety. The project includes adding a third lane and addressing high crash rates. These investments aim to support Maryland's growing communities, improve infrastructure, and ensure students and workers have the resources they need. Maryland Governor Wes Moore recently launched Enough, a community-based strategy to combat child poverty. Frederick County received one of the first ever Enough grants from the state. The $300,000 grant will allow the county to develop a Neighborhood Act plan focused on increasing economic mobility in the Route 40 corridor, where 35% of children live in poverty. Led by the Frederick Local Management Board and a coalition of 13 local organizations, Frederick County's initiative will engage residents, find out what they need, and map community assets. They are being supported by over 40 organizations. Enough aims to create lasting solutions through education, family stability, and community development. The 18-month planning phase will guide future investments to uplift Frederick's most vulnerable neighborhoods. It's been quite the chilly winter, but that didn't stop FCG-TV from visiting Budding Creek Farm, a sheep farm near Jefferson. On the newest episode of Farming Frederick, our host Yvette got her hands on a spinning wheel and learned how to spin loose wool, better known as roving, into yarn. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Yvette Castillo and I've never been on a farm before. I'm visiting farms across Frederick County, Maryland to learn about local farming. You're watching Farming Frederick. Your everyday clothing items like sweaters, coats, gloves, hats, and scarves might just be made from wool. Wool is a natural fiber that comes from sheep. Frederick County has around 119 sheep farms, making it the top sheep farming industry out of the entire state of Maryland. Frederick County has 52 farms that produce wool, and on this episode of Farming Frederick, we're visiting Budding Creek Farm, a small 16-acre wool farm, to learn how wool clothing is made using a spinning wheel. I just arrived at Budding Creek Farm, located off Capstein Road in Frederick. Let's knock and see if owner and farmer Patty Sandville is home so we can get our hands on a spinning wheel.
Hi.
Hi, Patty, Yvette.
Yvette, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me here today.
Absolutely.
So where do you keep the sheep?
I keep the sheep right out in the field next door.
Okay, well I definitely want to see them a little later.
Okay.
How about the spinning wheels? How about
They're inside. Come on in.
Okay. So here we are, here's the wheel. This looks like there's a lot to it, a lot to, process here. So tell me, how do you take wool from a sheep, turn it into clothing items by spinning. How does it work?
Okay, so the first thing you do is you shear the sheep. So once a year, we're gonna shear those sheep. And then the next thing you do is skirting, where you remove any debris, any hay, any fecal matter, any short cuts, second cuts. You're gonna take all of that out. Third thing is you're gonna wash it, and then you're gonna card it, and then you're going to finally be ready. Once it's carded, you can come to this step, which is the spinning step.
Okay.
And anywhere along that line, you can dye it. And then once you've got your yarn, then you can either knit it, weave it, or crochet it.
Okay.
Okay, you ready to try?
I'm right. You tell me what to do.
Okay, I'm gonna have you do the feet part, I'll do the hand part, and then I'll hand you the hands.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
All right. You're good.
All right.
All right.
Wow, it takes some effort to even do this part.
I have kids do march in place and then rub their tummy with one hand and pat their head with the other to see if they've got the coordination. Yeah. So I skipped that step with you, but here we go. Here
All right.
we go. All right, we're gonna hand it over to you. You ready?
Okay, so
Keep your feet going.
keep my feet going.
Yep. Whoop.
Help me if I'm doing
I'm
something
helping
wrong
you.
here.
Pinch right here.
Am I doing it right?
You're doing okay.
All right, so now what?
There you go. Oops, got to keep that pinched right there. Keep that pinched. There you go.
Pinched.
All right, let go now. There you go.
Okay, is that still okay?
That's great.
Ooh.
Whoop, too far.
Too far, so what do I do now?
Keep it pinched.
Keep it pinched.
I'll take over for 1 second.
Okay.
Yep, hang on.
All right.
I got it. We'll get you back on track and you can do it again.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
So
this
for
is
the
a lot
feet,
of work.
you're doing the feet great though. Look at you go.
That's one thing. If I could put it all together, it
There
would be
you go.
good. All right, go forward.
Yep.
Pinch. Ooh.
Let it in there.
Pinch.
Yep.
Ooh. Pinch.
Good job.
Ooh,
You
think
saved
I-
it. Oh, you broke it.
I broke it again. All right. Oh.
We'll take it.
You got it?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. How long does it take you to make a scarf?
So to make enough yardage, which is what we're making now, yardage of singles, and then you ply it into 2-ply yarn. And so it would take me probably about 4 hours to make enough to make a scarf.
Oh wow. Okay.
But that doesn't include the raising the sheep and all of those other steps. That's just this step. All right, ready? Take it
All right.
again. All right.
I'm willing to try.
Oh.
Oh, I broke it.
You did it
Yikes.
again.
Here,
Pinch it.
here, you
Oh,
take it.
here.
I need more lessons.
You got this.
All right, it's
Yeah.
the pinching that I'm
Yeah,
forgetting.
don't pull quite so far between.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. How much wool do you produce a year?
So each sheep will produce approximately 8 to 10 pounds of wool for the breed that I raise. So once a year, 10 sheep, about 100 pounds of wool a year. Of that, you wind up with about 50% of that is usable wool, and the rest of it is either debris or lanolin, the grease that's in wool, which gets washed out. So wind up with about 50 pounds of usable wool a year, which is enough to make many sweaters. Okay, we're hung up here
no,
again.
oh, no.
It's okay. Stop your feet
stop.
1 second.
Okay.
Yep. We gotta get you back on
Oops,
track.
I'm so sorry. I thought I was on a roll, but
You
clearly I'm not.
were on a roll and then the talking. You got your feet going? All right.
Okay, so this is all you.
Okay. So right now we're taking roving, which is this, to yarn, which is what it is once it gets onto the spool. And that part in between is spinning. So you're spinning the roving into yarn.
Okay. Am I doing it too thick or?
It's a little inconsistent, but that's okay. That's called art yarn. And like if you want to make a bulky knit sweater, you would need a thicker yarn. If you're making socks, you'd want a really fine yarn.
Okay.
If you're making a wedding shawl or something like that, you would want very, very fine yarn, very consistent, because you're going to have to knit it. We're stuck
get
here.
stuck.
Yep, we're going to get stuck with this fat, chunky bit.
Oh.
That's okay. It's okay. It's all part of the learning. I make it look easy now because it's been 14 years of me doing
Right,
this.
right.
My first yarn was not quite so consistent as it is now. One day I'm going to see you someplace. I'll be at the fairgrounds or Rose Home Manor or somewhere like that, and you'll show up and you'll be like, I know how to do that. I know exactly how to do that.
Well, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And that's not terrible yarn.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe I can see some sheep a little later.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Come here, sheepers. Come on. Come on.
Inching their way.
They're like, maybe. Come on. You're gonna make me come out in the field?
So that's how you use a spinning wheel. And it was harder than I thought. I'm going to feed some hay to the sheep. Be sure to tune in to the next episode of Farming Frederick because you never know what farm we'll visit next. If you would like to know more about Budding Creek Farm or any other sheep farm in Frederick County, please visit homegrownfrederick.com.
The sheep were so cute during this episode, but honestly, we tried petting them and they didn't want anything to do with us. All right, so we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but we're only halfway through this episode of County Perspective, so don't change the channel. See you soon. Welcome back to County Perspective. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa. February is Heart Health Month, so FCG-TV would like to share some health tips on keeping our hearts healthy. Before we dive into that, let's see who's looking for a forever home in this episode's Pet of the Week.
Lightning is a sweet and playful dog that unfortunately landed at FCAC when several of his family members developed medical conditions that made caring for him difficult. He is the perfect mix of fun-loving zoomies and snuggly couch potato. He has previously lived with children ages 3 to 8, but sometimes forgets his size and may knock younger kids down. To learn more about Lightning and our adoption process, call Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center at 301-600-1546.
Now that it is Heart Health Month, it is time to start evaluating what we do on a day-to-day basis. Are there things we eat that are bad for our hearts? Are we working out enough? Are we quitting bad habits like vaping or smoking cigarettes? Without further ado, let's learn some healthy heart tips.
My name is Michael Marchone and I'm a nurse practitioner at Frederick Health Hospital. I'm here to talk about some tips to keep your heart healthy. Signs and symptoms of a heart attack can be very difficult to recognize sometimes. So here's some of the ones that you should look out for. The obvious one is chest pain. That can be sometimes felt as epigastric pain or pain that feels like reflux, pain that goes to your jaw or your neck. Sometimes this pain can go down your shoulder to your arm. Also, sometimes patients have shortness of breath or pain in their back. So it can be really difficult to distinguish between what is normal and what can actually be a sign of a heart attack. So if you're experiencing these symptoms after you've walked up a flight of stairs, that is concerning. If you're having pain that lasts for a few seconds and goes away, that's usually not anything to be too concerned about. But if you're having pain that's lasting for more than 5 minutes, that is usually a time that you should start to consider that this is something that's not normal for you, and maybe you should reach out to your healthcare professional to let them know about your symptoms. Or if you're having symptoms that are really concerning and intense, then I recommend that you call 911 so you can be evaluated right away. Having a heart-healthy diet can be a challenge for some of us, especially in our busy lives. So eating a balanced diet that is something along the lines of a Mediterranean diet is one of my favorite things to recommend to patients. So eating chicken, fish, baked, broiled, and grilled, and trying to reduce the amount of fried, greasy things that we eat is the most heart-healthy option. Some patients even go as far as to have a plant-based diet because a lot of the studies these days continue to show that a plant-based diet is the most heart-healthy diet on the market at this point. Tobacco use and vaping can have negative effects on our heart, and you may not feel them now, but they, over time, these will have a permanent effect on our heart and lungs. So I recommend that if you smoke, chew, or vape, that you should seriously consider finding a method that works for you so that you can quit. There's many methods out there on the market that work, and each individual has to find one that works best for them. There are medicines, chewing gum, patches. So if you have finally gotten to the point where you're ready to quit, I recommend that you reach out to your healthcare provider and see about the different options that might work for you. It's also important that we follow up with our healthcare providers about monitoring our blood pressure, the management of our cholesterol and blood sugar. These are all things that we often don't feel. We don't feel when our blood pressure is high, we don't feel when our blood sugar is high, or if our cholesterol is not well managed. But these are things that can have a long-term lasting impact on our heart if we don't keep them monitored. So it's important that you follow up with your healthcare provider regularly so that they can run tests and monitor your blood pressure and make recommendations and possibly even start you on medications if these things can't be managed without medication. These are stressful times for all of us, so it's important that we find healthy ways to manage our stress. This is different for each one of us. We have to find a stress management routine that works well for each of us individually. So if you like to go for a walk, exercise, talk to friends, hang out with your pet, you have to find a way that's going to help you manage your stress best. So find that thing that you enjoy doing, and that is how you're going to manage your stress best. The most important commodity in life is time. We don't have enough of it. So I recommend that you take care of yourself now so that you can have the longest life possible to spend with your loved ones.
For February, I'm going to make sure I get plenty of boxing training in and make sure I'm not skipping gym days from being lazy. Now, speaking of staying active, it is time in the show to see what activities county divisions and departments are hosting in the next few weeks in this episode's calendar of events. To find out more about future events and activities, just visit frederickcountymd.gov. Now it's almost time to wrap up this episode of County Perspective, but I have a few more things to share with you. Frederick County government just hosted 6 budget town hall meetings to get public insight on the fiscal year 2026 budget. These town hall meetings were held around various districts in the county. Most of this year's budget concerns were about funding for public schools. Many community members were concerned about overcrowded classrooms. Other residents spoke about services for seniors, affordable housing, trails, and green initiatives. If you were not able to attend any of the budget town hall meetings, you can catch them on FCG-TV's Channel 19 and HD Channel 1072. You can also watch them on our budget portal by visiting frederickcountymd.gov/budget public hearing. FCG-TV was busy during the month of January, but this month has a lot going on as well. Stay tuned for the Veterans Advisory Board meeting, the Fire and Rescue Advisory Board meeting, several Planning Commission and County Council meetings, and multiple Compensation Review Commission meetings. Again, the public is encouraged to come to all of these meetings. To find the FCG-TV live broadcast schedule, just visit frederickcountymd.gov/FCG-TV. February is Black History Month. For the past 3 years, Frederick County government has been hosting Black History Month celebrations at Winchester Hall. Last year's turnout was one of a kind. This year's Black History Month celebration will be held on February 20th at 6 p.m. in the first floor hearing room of Winchester Hall. This year we'll have live performances and several empowering speeches. Come celebrate Black History Month with your community and Frederick County government. This celebration is free of charge. If you cannot make it to the event, be sure to catch it live on FCG-TV's Channel 19 and HD Channel 1072. Well, everyone, that concludes this episode of County Perspective. If you want to stay up to date on important news and events going on in the county, follow Frederick County on social media at FredCoGovMD. We'll see you next time with a fresh look from a county perspective. Take care, everyone.